Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Q&A webinar for the Workplace Innovation Now Challenge. My name is Christabel Villena, and I'm with CARET. We are the agency that is supporting the Aspen Institute and Pivotal with the design and management of these competitions. We also power the Win Challenge websites and platform you are using to register and complete your online application. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the news and updates page of the website in the next week or so. We will also email it to those who have registered for the challenge. Throughout this session, you will see the Win Challenge websites on the screen, and we will move from this homepage in just a moment. We have reserved the majority of our time over the next 75 minutes for your questions. First, Constanza Frischen, Managing Director and Co-Leader of the Aspen Digital, and Claire Bresnahan, English, Senior Director for Win Challenge at Aspen Digital, will welcome you and provide an overview of the Win Challenge and its 3 pillars.
Thank you so much, Christabel.
Oh, one moment.
Yeah.
I'll then do a quick walkthrough of one of the Win Challenge websites with help from my CARET colleague, Ethan Matthews. Then Amy Klein, Susanna Whitlatch, and Vanessa Valdivia will also help get your questions answered, along with support from members of the larger Win Challenge team. So for those, I just have some housekeeping and then we'll definitely move on. So for those who submitted questions by Monday, November 10th, those have been received and we will be answering those questions today. No need to resend them to us or repost them into the Q&A tab. And then please note, to help ensure fairness for all our participants, we are not able to provide guidance or responses that are very specific to your proposed team structure, approach, beneficiaries, and solutions. We are also not able to confirm your eligibility. So please refrain from sending us these vetting requests and instead tune in to this webinar and review the About and FAQ pages and the readiness tool on each pillar site to help gauge your fit for the Win Challenge. And if you still have questions after our presentation today, please type them into the Q&A box and be sure to listen in once the Q&A session starts, as there's a strong chance that your question might get answered. We'll get to as many questions as we can during our session today. Before we continue, some very important dates to keep in mind. The deadline to register for any of the Win Challenges is in a few weeks on Thursday, December 11th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Please note that you must complete online registration on CARET's platform for the opportunity to submit an application to any or all of the Win Challenges. We will host an additional pre-submission Q&A webinar after the registration deadline for registrants only on January 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Sign-up link for that will be shared with all registered participants in the coming weeks. So again, please do register for a Win Challenge today if you have not already done so. And if you have questions after today's session, you can reach us during regular U.S. business hours at questions@winchallenge.org. Now, I'm pleased to turn things over to Constanza Frischen with Aspen Digital.
Thank you so much, Christabel. It's been great working with you and the CARET team on the Win Challenge. Hey, everyone. I'm Constanza Frischen, the Managing Director of Aspen Digital, and we are so thrilled to be able to tell you all more about the Win Challenge that we are leading in partnership with Pivotal. There are many parties involved here, so let me spell them out for you real quick. Pivotal is a group of organizations founded by Melinda French Gates, and this challenge here is part of Pivotal's commitment to tackle the biggest barriers and maximize the opportunities available as workplaces quickly evolve. Aspen Digital is the program of the Aspen Institute that hosts the Win Challenge. Aspen Digital is focused on the impact of emerging technologies, especially AI, on society, on how we make decisions, on the way we work, how we use information, and more. And we are also partnering with our sister program here at the Aspen Institute, the Economic Opportunity Program. Together, we have deep expertise on how AI, culture, and narrative change can shape our life and our future, and how people can thrive in a changing environment. As you can see, it's been a massive team effort with month and month of planning to launch this $60 million Workplace Innovation Now Challenge, the aim of which is to discover and scale bold ideas to remove barriers that women face, and by doing so, strengthen the workplace for everyone. I couldn't be more excited about the interest that Win has generated, and I'm so grateful for all of you being here virtually with us. And with that said, I'll pass it over to my colleague, Claire Bresnan English, who is the Senior Director for the WIN Challenge. Claire.
Thanks, Constanza, and welcome everyone. Our team here at the WIN Challenge has been humbled and energized by the interest in this initiative. We've had over 1,300 orgs sign up for today's webinar, and we're grateful for the time and consideration you're putting into your decision to apply. Everyone on the WIN team here at Aspen has a background in nonprofit management, and we've done our best to center you, the potential applicant, when designing the grant competition. We've led small and large nonprofits from startups to legacy orgs. And so we know the amount of energy it takes to participate in an open call. We have been in your shoes before and truly mean it when we say thank you for exploring this opportunity. So no matter if you've only just heard about the WIN Challenge through word of mouth or you've been tracking the initiative since it launched in September, we hope the webinar today helps clarify how best to approach your application. Let's start first with the vision and some background. The WIN Challenge is a new initiative, and the bedrock is the $60 million nationwide grant competition to discover and scale bold solutions that help women thrive and strengthen the workplace for all. The foundation vision, backed by research, is that when workplaces are designed with the needs of women in mind, they're better places for everyone to work, and the benefits are felt across families, communities, and the economy at large. Workplaces are facing massive transformations right now, and recent data shows that the barriers for women still exist at work, from lacking caregiving support to outdated biases. And we also know that research shows that addressing these barriers will create better workplaces for everyone. Women make up nearly half of the US workforce, and yet in the past year, nearly 500,000 have left the workforce, and several factors are at play, including the rising cost of childcare, return to office mandates. It's all happening as AI is rapidly transforming our roles and our workflows and our workplaces. The WIN Challenge is a unique and urgent opportunity to source and scale innovative solutions to address barriers that tend to disproportionately impact women and are harmful for everyone. We need bold ideas to help women thrive and everyone win in this rapidly changing environment. And this is the moment to build momentum for solutions that can be scaled and have long-term impact. The competition itself is focused on three key pillars. First, improving workplace culture and practices. Second, leveraging the impact and potential of AI. And third, shaping new norms and narratives. Think of these as three sub-challenges within the overall WIN Challenge. Each has its own website, its own registration form, its own application here on winchallenge.org. Each of the pillars has 20 million to award up to 8 innovative awardees who receive grants of either 2.5 or 5 million. For the Culture and Practices Challenge, the focus is to address the key barriers women face at work and to advance processes, standards, norms that help everyone thrive. For the AI Challenge, the focus is to address the impact and potential of AI in the quickly evolving workplace. So from AI-powered solutions that help support women at work, to AI skill building, to solutions that mitigate bias in AI. And then for the narrative challenge, the focus is to shape new narratives that help women thrive and everyone win. That could include mitigating bias, celebrating women's achievement in the workplace, or amplifying positive, very different portrayals of what leadership looks like. Throughout the website, we state that the WIN Challenge is open to a wide range of solutions from across the US, and we truly mean this. We recognize there are potentially an infinite number of ways to address the key barriers that each pillar is focused on. If you have a solution you're even just slightly considering for submission, please register by December 11th at 5 p.m. You don't have to apply if you won't be able to apply if you don't first register. Please keep this door open for the opportunity and make sure to meet that registration deadline of December 11th. Christabel will provide more details on the registration process and the application process. And then, as she said, our colleagues, Amy and Vanessa, will address as many questions as we can today. And just want to say thank you again for your time, your interest, and most importantly, for the leadership and work that you're doing in your fields.
Thank you so much, Constanza and Claire. So I will now provide an overview of the website and the participation process. And we'll start with how to register. So you'll note that each pillar site is very similar in format and structure. So for the purposes of this presentation, we'll use the WIN Culture and Practices Challenge website. So again, As mentioned, if you haven't already, and even if you are still not sure which pillar is right for you, please complete the registration process on each relevant pillar site as soon as possible. Registration by 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, December 11th is required in order for you to have the opportunity to submit an online submission. So registration is very simple. You go to the upper right-hand corner or footer of any page. You can click on the yellow registration box that counts down the number of days left to register. You'll then be instructed to create and confirm your account. And then once you're confirmed, you will be prompted to submit some basic information about you and your organization so that we can better understand our registrant community. You can opt in to receive an email confirmation of this registration. And if you are then able to access the online application form and forums on the platform, then you have registered properly for the challenge. Now, all of our challenges are rooted in the values of openness, transparency, and fairness. We want to be sure that anyone who registers and applies for this opportunity knows exactly what we expect from them, when and how they're going to be scored, and who will be evaluating their solutions. These websites are built as instructional guides to understanding that process. Each site has an About page that details the specific barriers we aim to address through each pillar. The page includes a summary of who is eligible to apply, how we have defined a strong application, an overview of all three pillars, and information about the award selection process. Another good place to visit is the Readiness Tool. Readiness Tool is a short quiz that is not required, but is offered as a tool for you to use anonymously. So as you can see, there are some guiding questions to help you gauge whether you are eligible and a good fit for each Win Challenge pillar. Next, let's visit the rules page. Here you can read about the legal stipulations governing your participation. You can find the eligibility criteria and learn more about the detailed terms and conditions. Next, a very important page I'd like to share with you all is the application page. So this has the full text of the submission requirements that are available for any visitor to this site. You can see all the questions, prompts, word count limits. You're encouraged to read through all the sections so that you have a good grasp of what is required to submit a competitive application. Once you've reviewed these pages, you should have a strong sense of what you'll need to do to apply. So the next question we typically get is, how will applications be evaluated? So on each challenge website, you can click on Scoring Process, then Scoring Rubric to see the 4 criteria that will be used during peer-to-peer and evaluation panel review. The 4 criteria are innovative, feasible, transformative, and aligned. Each trait consists of a prompt that details what each of the criteria mean in this context, and each trait will be given a score between 0 and 5. You can toggle back and forth between the scoring ranges for any given trait, and a scoring range definition will appear to provide further detail on what a low versus a high score means for each of the Win Challenge pillars. Please, if you haven't already, do familiarize yourself with this rubric to help build a strong proposal. So this brings us to the actual evaluation process. Administrative review will take place immediately following the submission deadlines. The Win Challenge team will review all submissions to ensure they comply with the rules and application requirements. Then all complete and valid applications will move on to peer-to-peer review, which is a required component of the Win Challenge. Please do consider this as you solidify your plans to apply. Peer review will take place over a few weeks from late March to early April. And during this time, each lead applicant will be required to review and provide scores and comments on 5 other applications using the scoring rubric. Your review will happen on the same platform that you are using to submit your application. And once peer review is complete, The selection of top scoring submissions will move into the evaluation panel review. We invite you to check out the evaluation page on the website, then click on Meet Our Judges to learn more about our confirmed expert reviewers at this time. And more judges will be added to our website soon, so please check back in the coming days. You'll see the evaluation panel is comprised of individuals with various backgrounds and expertise, especially as they relate to each pillar. Please note that in addition to numeric scores, judges are required to provide comments to justify each score and note their overall impression of each of their assigned submissions. So this brings us to another common question we receive. How do we ensure the process is fair? To address this question, you can go to the menu and select Scoring Process, then Fairness to view a web page dedicated specifically to explaining how we normalize scores. I mentioned earlier that every valid submission will be scored by 5 fellow applicants. Each application moves on to the evaluation panel will also be reviewed by 5 total judges. This means that not every reviewer will look at every application. Our normalization protocol helps to make sure you're not disadvantaged if by chance you were assigned to a hard grader and another participant was reviewed by someone who tended to be a little more lenient with their numeric scoring. So on this fairness page, you can read more about how scores are rescaled and normalized to account for this. There are a few other features on the website I'd like to point out. So first, let's visit the timeline page. The timeline page details each phase of the challenge. Again, it starts with registration, which is required and must be completed by Thursday, December 11th at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, it's required for you to be able to submit an application. Then the application deadlines are the last week of January. All are at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Time as well, with culture and practices on Tuesday, January 27th, AI on Wednesday, January 28th, and narrative on Thursday, January 29th. The timeline goes on to list all other key dates related to the challenge, including peer review, evaluation panel review, and award selection. Next, we have news and updates. This is another helpful area for you to review. The news and updates page is where we will post the recording of this webinar, as well as any other updates along the way. Next, we have a very important page, which is FAQ, where we feature a series of frequently asked questions. We will be updating this page based on some questions we receive on today's webinar, and we'll continue to update this page throughout the process. So we do encourage you to read over all of these FAQs and check back for updated information and guidance in the coming weeks. And finally, each pillar site has a resources page with additional information on topics like scalability, solution stages, research, and other tools that you might find helpful as you develop your proposals. So now we are ready to move on to the Q&A portion of the webinar. As you can imagine, with the number of participants we have today, there are a high number of questions. So to help ensure fairness, overall, we are not responding to questions that are very specific to your proposed solution or your team structure, any specific audience or beneficiaries. If you would like more information about those things, please do review the about pages, the rules, the application requirements, the FAQ, and especially the scoring rubric to learn more about how we define a strong proposal. If you do have vending requests and are still not sure, please go ahead and just email us those specific questions at questions@winchallenge.org. And there is a strong chance that another attendee on this webinar has a similar question to yours. So please do listen in carefully as we power through the questions that we've received already. We'll get to as many questions as time permits. And again, if you have questions after today's session or technical requests, please email us at questions@winchallenge.org. All right, let's get started. Amy, please take us from here.
Thank you, Christabel. Okay, let's start with questions we received about eligibility, including information on multiple applications, fiscal sponsors, eligible organization types, partnerships and collaborations, and more. How do we decide which challenge is the best fit for our solution?
Hi, I'll just quickly introduce myself. I'm Vanessa. I'll be answering this set of questions, but just so you all can see that I'm a real person, but I will be off camera for this. To answer your question, if you haven't already, we recommend, and as Christabel mentioned, we recommend taking the readiness tool on each pillar site. This is a quick and confidential quiz to help determine your organization's eligibility and fit for each challenge. You can also view the About pages to learn more details on the focus of each challenge. We have described the specific barriers we aim to address through each pillar, and as mentioned, please review the scoring rubric on each site to better understand how we have defined a strong application.
Next question. Are we allowed to apply to more than one WIN challenge?
Yes, you may submit an application to one or more of the 3 Win Challenge pillars. A few things to note here. Please do not submit the same application for all 3 challenges. Each application should be distinct and separate and should demonstrate why the proposed solution is a strong fit for the focus of each challenge. An organization may only serve as a lead organization on one application per pillar for a total of 3 separate and distinct applications. For applicants using a single pillar, such as the Win AI Challenge, an organization may be a partner with a coalition or partners on more than one application if each one proposes a separate and distinct solution, and each application must be submitted by a different eligible lead organization. Teams are encouraged to select a single project that best represents its organization's ability to deliver a solution that meets the scoring criteria for each pillar.
Next question. What if I haven't decided on which pillar to apply to yet?
If you're unsure of which pillar to select, please go ahead and register for all 3 pillars as soon as possible and no later than the registration deadline of 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, December 11th. As we've noted, registration by this deadline is required to be able to submit an application by the January deadlines. You can find each challenge registration page by clicking the countdown button at the top right or bottom of every page on each site.
We have multiple departments within our university who are interested in applying. Are each of them eligible to submit their own applications as the lead?
Yes. Regional or location-specific branches of larger organizations, as well as departments, schools, and programs within or based in a college or university may each submit separate applications naming their parent organization as the lead organization on their applications. On the registration form, it asks for the lead organization's name. Applicants may include a specific branch or department along with the parent organization name as a response in this field.
Because our organization and programs are open to people nationwide, how do we best answer the questions about our geographic location?
Questions about the lead organization's geographic location should be based on where the organization is located. On the application, under section F, Beneficiaries and Impact, please answer based on where the proposed solution will be implemented during the 2-year project period. And please note, nationwide and national are included under the list of options to select. Applicants also have the opportunity to narratively describe geographies and communities you aim to serve.
Next question. Are there any geographic limits or preferences? Which countries are eligible?
As described in the rules under Section 4, Geographic Eligibility, only nonprofit organizations based in the U.S. or U.S. territories and the U.S. tribal governments are eligible to apply as a lead organization. There is no preference for nationwide versus regional location or reach. All proposed solutions must be implemented in the U.S. or U.S. territories. Applicants have the opportunity to select and describe the type of communities, audiences, and/or organizations that will benefit from the proposed solution. See Section F, Beneficiaries and Impact on the application.
Next question. I understand for-profit companies, individuals, government agencies, and non-US based organizations are not eligible to apply as a lead. Are there opportunities for these type of entities to participate?
Yes, for-profit companies, individuals, government agencies, and non-US based organizations are allowed to serve as part of a team on an application that is submitted by an eligible lead organization. Please see the rules, Section 3, Collaborations, for more information.
Are organizations with fiscal sponsors eligible to apply? If you are creating a nonprofit, but it is not yet established, must you have a fiscal sponsor to apply?
Projects with fiscal sponsors are eligible to apply. Similar to universities, applicants should list both the fiscal sponsor and the project name in the lead organization field on the registration form, such as project name, parentheses, fiscal sponsor, or fiscal sponsor dash project name. And yes, if you are not yet a nonprofit nor organization, you may apply under a fiscal sponsor or serve as part of a team under an eligible lead organization. An important note here. If an applicant does not have its tax-exempt status under the IRS by the time the grants are awarded under this competition, the organization must have a fiscal sponsor that meets the Win Challenge eligibility requirements to receive a grant award. Failure to secure tax-exempt status or secure an eligible fiscal sponsor will render an applicant ineligible to receive a grant award under this competition.
Next question. As a lead organization, is there a certain capacity requirement we need to demonstrate? For example, are there any restrictions or concerns with a smaller nonprofit with less than $50,000 annual revenue serving as the lead organization on a grant of this size, provided they demonstrate the capacity to manage sub-awards and fiscal oversight? More broadly, how much emphasis is placed on the capacity of the lead organization versus the collective strength and complementary of the team or consortium as a whole?
There are no requirements for specific organizational budget range or capacity. Under the rules, Section 5, Financial and Organizational Capacity, all applicants must demonstrate the financial capacity of any lead organization that may be the recipient of any award to carry out any project and to appropriately manage any award. You have the opportunity to demonstrate this on the application. For example, with your responses under Section C, the team, and Section F, beneficiaries and impact, and by providing 2 years of financials under Section H, administrative information.
Are partners required?
No, partners are not required.
How could contributing partners with a passion for this work connect to form networks/coalitions of a scale suitable for this opportunity? Will there be a teaming event to facilitate connections among interested organizations or an opportunity to connect with other prospective applicants? We'd love to explore opportunities to team up with organizations that share complementary strengths.
Collaborations and partnerships are welcome. Once you complete the registration form, you can log in to Carrot's application platform and access forums. Here, you could post information about the types of partners you are looking for. You are also welcome to research and reach out directly to organizations who look like a good fit.
Next question. Can you please expand on what you mean by a team's track record?
Specific prompts as they relate to track record could be considered under feasibility. Please review the scoring rubric for each pillar to learn more about how we define a strong application.
Next question. Are grantees of Pivotal and Aspen Institute programs eligible to apply?
Past and current grantees of Pivotal and the Aspen Institute are eligible to apply. Current programs of the Aspen Institute are not eligible to apply as a lead organization and cannot serve as part of a team submitting the application and/or implementing the proposed solution.
Can you provide clarity and guidance for how best to choose or distinguish between the culture and practice and narrative pillars?
Yes, culture and practices is focused on policies, practices, and culture within the workplace. Narrative is focused on public awareness, shaping new narratives, and changing perceptions and attitudes as they relate to how women are seen in the workplace. More information can be found on the About pages of each pillar site.
Now let's move on to questions related to registration and the application. First question, how do I confirm that I'm registered properly?
Once you complete the registration form, you will be able to access the online application form and forums on the platform. Remember, the deadline to register for all WIN challenges is 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, December 11th. Registration does not require you to submit an application, but it is required by the December 11th deadline if you'd like the opportunity to submit an application by the January deadlines.
Will the registration information be evaluated and then people will be invited to apply?
No. Once you complete the registration form, you may proceed to the online application form. And please do not wait until the last minute to submit your application. The deadline to submit for WIN Culture and Practices Challenge is Tuesday, January 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern. For the WIN AI Challenge, it is Wednesday, January 28th at 5 p.m. Eastern. And WIN Narrative Challenge applications are due no later than 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, January 29th.
Next question. My apologies. Will the registration information be, apologies, my computer screen blanked out. If a lead organization changes after registration, for example, due to internal administrative or governance constraints, is there flexibility to update the lead applicant prior to final submission?
Yes, applicants can update registration information up until the application deadline in January. If you need to edit your registration information, log into the platform, click on Submissions at the top right of the dashboard, and select Registration Form to update.
Next question. Can you please share any requirements for the video, format, length, etc.?
You are required to submit 2 short videos that capture your team and project and describe why you should be supported through this challenge. These videos are an opportunity to pitch your proposed solution in a succinct format and share your vision in a way that is different from a written proposal. This does not need to be a professionally produced video. A video shot on your smartphone is perfectly acceptable. Once the videos are ready, you will upload them to YouTube and follow the guidelines outlined under Section B of the application form, including settings for captions, embedding, and privacy. The first team video can be up to 1 minute total and will focus on your organization and team. Be sure to reflect on the experience of your team and the connection to the community you aim to serve. The second solution video can be up to 90 seconds and should focus on the proposed project. Again, please review the application requirements for more information and email us at questions@winchallenge.org if you need technical support.
Next question. Are application materials confidential?
Your submission may be shared with 5 of your fellow applicants as part of peer-to-peer review, 5 evaluation panel members, designated members of the WIN Council, and the WIN Challenge team during the evaluation process. All peer reviewers and evaluation panel judges will commit to keeping all application materials they review confidential. Also, portions of your applications may be published online and may be shared with the general public to promote your proposal or to highlight results. Those portions may include, but are not limited to, lead organization, website, project title, project statement, executive summary, video presentation, and project description.
Next question. What if our organization doesn't have audited financials? Can we still apply?
We require information necessary to understand the financial health of the lead organization. The application will request audited financial reports from the past 2 years for the lead organization. If audited financial reports are not available, upload 990s or certified financials for the past 2 years for the lead organization. You may submit the 2 years of financial records in any standard format.
The following questions and answers will relate to project types and solution stages. Could you share more information about what stages the project should be in, such as pilot, ready to scale, etc., for each challenge, as well as the scope?
Yes, hi everyone, I can answer these questions. Please visit the resources page and scroll down to solution stage on that resources page to learn more about how we describe the eligible solution stages for the WIN challenges.
Next question. Is there a preference for solutions that seek to change workplaces systematically rather than solutions that provide tools or resources for individual women at work? Are funds to support micro, meso, and macro level initiatives?
The WIN challenge is open to a wide range of solutions. Please review the application questions and scoring rubric to learn more about the requirements and how a strong solution is defined for each pillar. For example, the Culture and Practices Challenges rubric for transformative will gauge, is the solution bold, ambitious, and designed to transform workplace policies, practices, and culture? Is there evidence the solution will result in systemic change with long-term impact that supports everyone, especially women in the workplace?
Next question. What do you consider in terms of presenting a proposal as a prototype that can potentially scale? Can the submission be a novice idea, or does it need to have market traction?
The WIN challenge recognizes that innovation emerges from novel, original ideas or a new application of an existing method. Applications should demonstrate how the proposed solution can be scaled. Scale may mean expanding to new geographies, or it may mean how you intend to amplify your impact more deeply in one geography or context. If appropriate, explain whether and how you will need to tailor and adapt your solution for scaling and/or amplifying impact. Additionally, proposals from organizations operating in a range of stages will be encouraged to apply. From early stage organizations with a new idea to existing organizations and partnerships with strong proofs of concepts or proven solutions ready to scale. Review numbers 5 and 8 in the FAQ to explore more, as well as the scoring rubric to review the guidance for how to approach innovation and scale.
Can you explain what caregiving responsibilities are?
On the About page, all of the barriers are described. So, under caregiving responsibilities, solutions would address how the systems and workplaces in this country are not set up to support households responsible for caregiving, such as childcare or elder care.
Are funds focused on supporting new or ongoing initiatives, and should funds be used for direct services to people in need?
Proposals from organizations operating in a range of stages are encouraged to apply. From early stage organizations with a new idea to existing organizations and partnerships with strong proofs of concepts or proven solutions ready to scale. Award funds must be used for the project detailed in the application and may be dispersed to partners for project-related purposes as detailed in the budget. Also, be sure to review the innovative trait under the scoring rubric, the rules, and the About page on each site for more helpful information.
Next question. Do we need to have the team all ready to go, or can we just pitch the idea?
We leave the amount of detail up to each applicant to decide and recommend you provide sufficient information for evaluators to apply the scoring rubric. So, for example, describing key members of the team could help determine the score for feasible.
All right, let's move on to budget and timeline questions. First question, are indirect costs allowed? For colleges and universities, is there guidance regarding what would be considered a reasonable allocation for indirect expenses?
Yes, the budget may include a reasonable allocation for indirect expenses associated with the overall operations of the team that are shared across the organization's activities. We reserve the right to review and adjust amounts allocated for indirect expenses. We understand many universities have set indirect cost rates. Please describe any such indirect cost requirements in your budget narrative and ensure that any indirect costs are accounted for in your budget in the application.
Next question. Per the application, we see the budget request should be $5 million for a project over 2 to 3 years. Are there any other specific limitations for the budget request?
For the budget, we leave it up to each participant to best describe their budget as they see fit. Expenses identified in the table should reflect and clarify your general explanations provided in the budget narrative section and include more detailed cost categories that support your plans and intended outcomes. Please be sure to follow the guidance listed in the prompts. Your timeline and budget must detail in which project year the activity or cost will be incurred. Y1, Y2, and/or Y3. Specify what portion of the budget is expected to be spent on monitoring, evaluation, and learning, if applicable. And lastly, you may include any explanations of existing resources you have already secured.
We see some questions about use of funds, such as, are funds permitted to be used to incentivize participation in a pilot program? Can you please detail allowable versus unallowable costs? Are consultants, stipends, and overhead allowed?
We leave it up to each participant to best determine and describe their budget as they see fit. More information is available here on our FAQ page, and be sure to review the rules under Section 6, Prohibited Use of Award Funds, for a list of ineligible expenses.
Next question. Can funds be applied flexibly across the 3 pillars, or will allocations be divided by category or pillar?
Funds will be dispersed by pillar. Each of the 3 Win Challenge pillars has $20 million to support up to 8 applicants who will receive a grant of either $2.5 million or $5 million each. So for the Win AI Challenge, we will grant up to 8 awards of $2.5 million or $5 million each, and that funding will be used toward the solution proposed to the Win AI Challenge. If you have one proposed solution that could fit across all 3 pillars, please register and submit one application to the pillar you think is the strongest fit with your solution. While a single lead organization could submit one application for each separate and distinct solution to each pillar, please do not submit the same solution or application to all 3 pillars.
Next question. Can a proposal integrate multiple components, for example, funded workplace pilots, longitudinal research, storytelling, and public communications under a single project framework, or should these be separated into distinct proposals or phases?
Similar to the previous question, if you do not have a separate and distinct solution to propose for each of the 3 pillars, please choose the pillar that is the strongest fit for your proposed solution. We leave this up to each team to decide, and please note, each lead organization may only submit one application for each pillar.
Could you please repeat how long the grant period is? How flexible is the time frame for implementation and evaluation? And is there an estimated start date?
This information is available on the application form under Section G, Project Plan and Budget. The grant period can be up to 3 years total, and we expect to announce awards in the fall of 2026, with projects starting shortly after once award agreements are fully executed.
Next question. How should we determine project scope at 2.5 versus 5 million level?
All applications should provide a budget, timeline, impact, metrics, scope, etc., based on an award at the $5 million level. Then, under Section G, there's a contingency question where applicants then have the opportunity to share how the plan and impact would change at the $2.5 million level.
Is there a requirement to serve a minimum number of people/groups or a limit to how much funding we can apply for based on how many served people groups there are?
No, we are open to a wide range of solution types and beneficiaries. Again, please review the scoring rubric to learn more about how applications will be evaluated.
Now for questions on evaluation and award selection. What criteria are you using to determine between 2.5 million and 5 million award? Could you please share more about the evaluation process?
Yes, absolutely. And be sure to visit the FAQ and evaluation pages of each site for more information. Applications will go through several stages of review, which includes a peer review process and evaluation panel. The WIN Council will review top finalists and advise the selection of awardees to the Aspen Institute. Review number 13 in the FAQ to understand more of the steps in the evaluation process. Once the submission deadline passes, the WIN Challenge team will conduct an administrative review to confirm each submission meets the rules and application requirements. Valid applications will then advance to peer-to-peer review, where they will be scored by 5 fellow applicants, resulting in a rank order of all valid submissions. Based on the rank order of scores, a selection of top scoring applications will move forward to the evaluation panel. Applicants that advance to the evaluation panel will be reviewed by 5 judges. Peer reviewers and the evaluation panel will use the scoring rubric to provide scores and valuable feedback on their assigned submissions. And all scores will be statistically normalized to ensure fairness. Finally, the WIN Challenge team will review the top scoring submissions resulting from evaluation panel to select top scoring applications for consideration by designated members of the WIN Council. Based on considerations that may include, but are not limited to, evaluation panel resulting rank order, organizational capacity, geographic impact, and demonstrated potential, the WIN Council will recommend up to 8 awardees to receive grants of either 2.5 million or 5 million each. Final decisions and selection of awardees will be made by Aspen Digital. You can learn more about the timing of these evaluation phases on each site's timeline page.
Next question. Could you please share more information on the award notification process?
Awardees will be selected and notified by the end of summer 2026. Agreements will be signed and in place by the time awards are announced in fall of next year.
How do you define scale for this initiative? How will you measure success?
We leave it up to each applicant to define scale and measurements of success for their proposed solutions. Please review the resources page and scroll down to scalability and solution stage for some additional information.
How are you defining evidence-based?
We understand that innovative solutions can reference a wide range of evidence-based practices. Applications should highlight track record, internal data, lived experience, and/or formal evidence that the proposed solution will effectively support women and help everyone thrive in the workplace. If you do not have evidence of impact of your own solution, you should be able to point to research-backed practices on which your solution is based, or analogous solutions achieving meaningful impact that you think your solution may similarly achieve.
Next question. Will the award agreement with the grantee be with Pivotal Ventures or the Aspen Institute? What will be the expectations or required actions of the individuals or organizations selected?
The lead organization will enter into a direct and separate award agreement with the Aspen Institute. Each grant/award agreement governing the use of awards may vary depending on the nature of the project, the organization receiving the award, and the award amount. Any awardee who enters into a separate agreement to receive funding will report progress towards milestones and other goals. While requirements may vary based on the organization and the project, it is likely that at least one narrative report per year will be required.
Are we allowed to reach out to the submission committee if we have pre-existing relationships?
No, we do not recommend contacting any evaluators during the competition period.
Will applicants receive feedback on their submissions?
Unfortunately, due to the anticipated high volume of submissions, we will not have the capacity to provide reviewer feedback to applicants.
How does the WIN Challenge evaluate initiatives that intentionally bridge AI, policy reform, and narrative change rather than fitting into one pillar?
Applications will be evaluated using the scoring rubric for that pillar. As mentioned earlier, applications that bridge all three pillars are welcome, and we leave it up to your team to decide which pillar is the strongest fit for your application.
Does the WIN Challenge provide mentorship or networking opportunities to strengthen women-led collaborations in technology and research?
Additional programming will be announced in 2026. Aspen Digital will host a summit in the fall of 2026 to uplift the solutions and changemakers sourced through the WIN Challenge. The knowledge curated will be shared widely across industries, the philanthropic community, and decision makers committed to reshaping workplaces with forward-looking ideas so everyone can thrive. In the final year of the WIN Challenge initiative, Aspen Digital will focus on providing programming for the awardees and supporting their journeys.
Do lead team members have to identify as women?
No, this grant competition is open to everyone. The foundational vision, backed by research, is that when workplaces are designed with the needs of women in mind, they're better places for everyone to work, and the benefits will be felt across communities and the economy at large. The WIN Challenge welcomes proposals with solutions that engage men in creating workplaces where women thrive, while creating better workplaces for everyone and strengthening our economy. Applicants will be asked to describe how their innovative idea supports women at work and by extension helps everyone, families, communities, and/or the economy overall, to thrive in a rapidly changing work environment. Applicants should propose tools, strategies, and resources that are non-discriminatory and that help support women in the workplace without discriminating against men or members of protected categories. We also encourage you to review the scoring rubric trait called Aligned. The evaluation process will consider whether the proposal is rooted in an understanding and analysis of the barriers many people, especially women, face, the broader context, and on-the-ground conditions for success.
We see a number of vetting requests and questions about specific team structures, solution ideas, and so forth.
Again, to ensure fairness for all our applicants, we are not able to provide guidance or feedback that is very specific to proposed solutions or team structures. That said, we welcome a wide range of approaches, solutions, barriers addressed, audiences, beneficiaries, types of impact and success, and more. And we encourage you to review the About pages, application requirements, and scoring rubrics on each pillar site to learn more about the priorities for the WIN Challenge.
Next question. Is the same individual who registers an organization then also required to submit the proposal?
Applicants may collaborate as a team to complete the application offline and or on the platform. You may share login credentials with one another as needed. It does help to designate one person responsible for entering your responses into the online application. Also, please do not wait until the last minute to begin your work on the platform and plan for ample time to ensure all fields and uploads are complete in order to submit by the deadline.
Next question. Are there populations you are focused on addressing as a priority? Will specific industries for occupational sectors be prioritized as part of the selection criteria? Will you accept applications that focus on a specific industry that is predominantly comprised of immigrant and refugee women?
Proposals from organizations operating in a range of stages, sectors, and within a range of workplaces may apply. Review the About pages as well as the Challenge section in the read-only application to determine which barrier your application will address. And please note, you should review the rules to understand eligibility requirements. Solutions will not be eligible that exclude employees from jobs, promotions, contracts, and other specific employment opportunities based on their sex, race, or other protected characteristics.
Would our proposal be strengthened by having committed organizations on board that would want our program in-house?
Securing partnerships and commitments would be considered under the feasible trait in the scoring rubric. Please review the rubric on each pillar site to learn more about how we've defined a strong proposal and provide as much information as you can while following the application requirements to make the case for your solution.
Next question. What's the ideal profile of an applying organization? Is the applying organization still a strong candidate if they've already received funding from Pivotal?
Past and current grantees of Pivotal and the Aspen Institute are eligible to apply. And please note, current programs of the Aspen Institute are not eligible to apply as a lead organization and cannot serve as part of a team submitting the application and/or implementing the proposed solution. We recommend you take the readiness quiz to help determine if you are a strong fit for the WIN Challenge.
Can a fiscally sponsored project under a 501c3 serve as the lead organization if a for-profit performs the core technical work?
Fiscally sponsored projects of nonprofit organizations based in the U.S. and/or U.S. territories are eligible to apply as a lead. For-profit entities are only eligible to participate as part of a team on an application submitted by an eligible lead. Please see the rules, section 1 and number 10 in the FAQ for more information on the use of funds such as to support non-charitable purposes.
Next question. Is there any minimum operating history required for newly formed foundations or sponsored projects?
There are no requirements or preferences as they relate to the age of the organization or the project. Please review the scoring rubric to learn more about how each proposal will be evaluated.
Next question. Is it better to apply to all or focus on the best fit? And how do reviewers view multiple applications from the same group?
Please submit an application that you have determined is the best fit for your proposed solution. For those who submit distinct and separate proposals for more than one challenge, each application will be evaluated by fellow applicants within that same challenge using the specific scoring rubric for that pillar. Similarly, those who move on to the evaluation panel will be reviewed by judges assigned to that specific pillar. Once all evaluation results are in, the WIN Challenge team will review the normalized rank order and confirm who will move on to the WIN Council. Multiple applications from the same lead organization could be considered, but would not necessarily be counted against the applicant.
Next question. How does your evaluation process account for the different ways private sector, nonprofit, and university applicants measure impact?
We understand that applicants represent a wide variety of approaches and capacity for measuring impact. Therefore, we anticipate receiving a broad spectrum of evidence-based practices. To the best of their ability, applications should highlight track record, internal data, lived experience, and/or formal evidence that the proposed solution will effectively support women and help everyone thrive in the workplace. If you do not have evidence of impact of your own solution, you should be able to point to research-backed practices on which your solution is based, or analogous, analogous solutions achieving meaningful impact that you think your solution may similarly achieve. While the grant competition is focused on solutions implemented in the US, applicants may cite global practices, research, or case studies. Please review Section F in the application to understand the specific information to provide about measuring impact.
Next question. Are workplace and workforce interchangeable in regard to these challenges?
To help ensure fairness, we're not able to provide guidance that is very specific to your proposed solution. We are open to a wide range of solutions so long as the application is submitted by an eligible lead organization, Section 1 of rules, and that the proposed project serves and impacts communities, audiences, and/or organizations located within the U.S. and U.S. territories, which is in Section 4 of the rules. Please review the About page for more information on specific barriers to address the application, to view requirements, the scoring rubric to learn more about how we have defined a strong application.
Is this challenge only for women's startup only? If an organization serves all genders, are they able to apply and be considered?
It is open to a wide range of organizations in different stages and phases, from startup or early stage organizations with a new idea to existing organizations and partnerships with strong proofs of concept or proven solutions ready to scale. The registration form includes a question that asks you to identify the phase that best describes your organization and solution. Please review the resource page for more information on how we define each stage. The WIN Challenge welcomes proposals with solutions that engage men in creating workplaces where women thrive while creating better workplaces for everyone and strengthening our economy. Applicants will be asked to describe how their innovative ideas support working women and by extension helps everyone, families, communities, and the community overall to thrive in a rapidly changing work environment.
For the narrative challenge, how broadly do you define leadership? In particular, do roles that are often under-evaluated or invisible in the economy, such as caregiving or other forms of frontline lived experience and leadership, fit with WIN's core focus on women, work, and leadership?
Yes, absolutely. We understand that leadership can look different depending on settings and workplaces, and recommend that your application makes the strongest case for defining that. We encourage potential applicants to review the resource page on winchallenge.org to learn more about the research that has informed the WIN Challenge.
I serve in an administrative role for a registered team. Would I be able to attend the January webinar, or is that only for the lead PI or researchers, for example?
The next webinar we host on January 14th is open to those who have registered for the challenge, and more than one person from each registrant team may participate. You're welcome to include other team members as you prefer.
Does the solution need to apply to the workplace rather than society at large?
We are open to a wide range of solutions so long as the application is submitted by an eligible lead organization and that the proposed project serves and impacts communities, audiences, and organizations located within the U.S. and U.S. territories. We recommend reviewing Section D and E to hone the focus of your application. For example, Section E asks, how does the solution offer a novel breakthrough approach to support everyone, especially women in a rapidly changing workplace. For example, how will this solution help women, families, communities, and/or the economy overall to thrive?
If we are planning on submitting different ideas for multiple tracks, do we need to have someone different complete the registration, or can one person create multiple registrations?
Each lead organization may submit one separate and distinct solution for each pillar, and the same person may register on behalf of this organization on each pillar site. So your grant writer, for example, could register using the same name and email on both the Win AI and Win Narrative sites. Another example to help clarify, if you are a university that will have applications from several departments within your university for the Win AI Challenge, then each department should register separately with a unique email address on the Win AI Challenge platform.
Next question. Are you saying that we can register under more than one pillar and then decide later? What if more than one person from an organization registered? Are registrations limited to one organization?
Yes, please be sure you register for all the pillars of interest to your organization. And if needed, you can update that information at any time leading up to the submission deadline. More than one person registering from the same organization is okay. Please just be sure to choose one registrant account to submit your final application. And please note, regional or location-specific branches of larger organizations, as well as departments, schools, and programs within or based in a college or university may each submit separate applications naming their parent organization as the lead organization on their applications. Similarly, applicants may include a specific branch or department along with the parent organization and the lead organization field on the registration form. In all of these circumstances, the proposed solutions must be separate and distinct. The intent is to ensure that teams are concentrating their best efforts into one application. Teams are encouraged to select a single project that best represents its organization's ability to deliver a solution that meets the scoring criteria. Question 11 in the FAQ can provide more details.
Given the size of the prize, I'm curious if you expect one initiative per application or if multi-initiative proposals are acceptable.
We understand a proposed solution could cover all three pillars. We leave it up to each applicant to determine whether you'll submit an application in one or more of the pillars. Moreover, it's up to the applicant to decide if the solution will be a single or multi-initiative proposal. Please do not submit the same proposal for all three pillars. Please focus on a single project that best represents your organization's ability to deliver a solution that meets the scoring criteria for each pillar you intend to apply. We recommend reviewing the feasibility requirements on the scoring rubric to determine if you'll submit a multi-initiative proposal.
Next question. We'll be applying with a fiscal sponsor and want to be sure our submission aligns with your evidence and feasibility rubric. Could you clarify how reviewers weigh the fiscal sponsor's branding or identity versus the merits and research basis of the proposed solution itself?
Great question. We recommend focusing the application's answers on the proposed solution itself. If you'd like to share more about the dynamics of your fiscal sponsorship, Section F provides space for additional considerations. Here, you may emphasize or expand upon a previous point or provide new information as necessary.
Next question. Do you have particular industries that are targeting for programs? For example, would programs supporting and training women to enter trades be considered?
Yes, this initiative aims to source innovations that open opportunities for women's careers while improving workplaces for everyone and expanding prosperity for communities across the country.
Could you share guidance on how applicants should frame solutions that focus on specific populations like women while also emphasizing benefits for all workers? I want to make sure we align with your expectations given the current federal landscape.
Good question. The application asks for clarification on how the solution offers a novel or breakthrough approach to support everyone, especially women, in a rapidly changing workplace. Please describe in your application, Section E, how the solution will help women, families, communities, and/or the economy overall to thrive. Please also review the FAQ question number 10 and the rules on the prohibited use of funds.
For the narrative challenge, the desired solutions offer a game-changing approach to shape new narratives, but it's unclear who the desired core audience for these narratives are. Is it for business owners/employers or policymakers or a general public audience?
We leave it up to each applicant to define their audiences and beneficiaries. Applicants have the opportunity to describe these audiences throughout the application under Section F, Beneficiaries and Impact. Though, please note the WIN challenge is not focused on government policy change and lobbying is not an eligible use of funds.
Is the frequently asked questions page only accessible after you register?
The FAQ pages are accessible to anyone who visits the challenge websites. Please go to the menu on any pillar site and select FAQ to view.
What should we use as the earliest start date for budgeting purposes? I see that awards will be announced in fall 2026. How long after that announcement would funds be available?
The first anticipated payment to awardees will be in 2026. This is subject to change if additional time is required for the evaluation phases.
What is the rationale for having applicants have access to competing proposals and to rate them?
Peer review aligns with our broader goal of fostering a culture of collaboration and helping to ensure the process includes input from those closest to the work. We often find reviewers benefit from learning about other efforts and that peer review results in new collaboration opportunities and amplified impact.
Next question. If a proposal directly in the application form, is it possible to invite more people in to help work on the application? For example, we have a team that will be working on the application.
Yes, as mentioned earlier, applicants may collaborate as a team to complete the application offline and/or on the platform. You may share login credentials with one another as needed. It does help to designate one person responsible for entering your responses into the online application. And again, please do not wait until the last minute to begin your work on the platform and plan for ample time to ensure all fields and uploads are complete in order to submit by the deadline. Each pillar has a community forum where you can discuss opportunities to partner with fellow applicants.
If a proposal directly addresses one pillar but is also related to another pillar of the call, should we explicitly highlight the secondary alignment in the application, and how should it be reflected in the evaluation process?
It's understandable that your proposed solution could fit multiple pillars. There's a section in the application where you will select the primary barrier your solution is focused on. Then you'll be prompted to select additional barriers that your solution addresses. If you decide to apply in multiple pillars, please make sure to present a distinct and separate solution per pillar.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to Christabel.
See, I think we have time for one more question, if you don't mind reading that last one.
Sure.
And then we'll end.
To help ensure fairness, we are not able to provide guidance that is very specific to your proposed solution.
No, it's number 80, sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Christabel.
Sorry to interrupt. It's marked as the last question about how do you define a workplace?
How do you define a workplace?
We're almost there. How do you
Sorry.
define a workplace? To help ensure fairness, we're not able to provide guidance that is very specific to your proposed solution. We're open to a wide range of solutions so long as the application is submitted by an eligible lead organization and that the proposed project serves and impacts communities, audiences, and/or organizations located within the U.S. and U.S. territories. We do recommend reviewing the resource page for more information on the research that informed the grant competition. And now I'll pass it over.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And thank you for those who stayed. I know we went over by a couple minutes. Just a few things to wrap things up. Again, thank you so much for all of your questions. We got through as many as we could today. As you can imagine, there were many more that we received. So please do check back on the FAQ pages of each site for more information. Please do email us at questions@winchallenge.org if you have additional questions. We will share a recording of this webinar from News and Updates on each site. And also we'll email it to registrants of each pillar. And again, if you haven't done so already, please do register no later than Thursday, December 11th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, even if you haven't yet decided if you are going to apply. This way, you'll be registered and you have the opportunity to apply should you decide later. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to your participation in the WIN Challenge. I'll hand things over to the Aspen team now for some closing remarks.
Thank you, Christabel. Thank you, everyone on the CARE and Aspen team to help answer the questions. And y'all, we are incredibly energized by your questions, by your intentionality, by the purpose and passion that you're bringing to your work and to this challenge. As Christabel said, please use the questions at winchallenge.org tool. We are monitoring that daily. We want to make sure your questions are answered so you're best prepared to be able to submit the best possible applications. Thank you again for your leadership and your work. Bye, y'all.
Thank you also from my end. Thank you for sticking with us. That was a marathon session. You did great. Thank you. Bye.